You all hope you're staying warm. Bounce that pill from Fergus Patterson. I want to say Ferguson Patterson. That would feel, but no, it's Fergus Patterson. I'm poggering out of my mind, says Bayer. Not sure what the ATO is going to understand what pill bouncing means.
It's in reference to Richard claiming all the donations every week on tax.
Good on him. You got it.
Legend.
He's just very slowly siphoning out his his taxable wage income. And I get it. Broden can confirm the pulled beef, brisket and jalapeno banjos pie is epic.
Ooh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Banjos, yeah. But also, this is huge news in McDonald's today, Marnie. Are you across the new news at McDonald's? You are. I know you are.
Yeah, because Mitchell keeps telling us.
The McGriddle came out today.
What is a McGriddle?
Think pancake instead of McMuffin.
Okay.
The end.
Okay.
And then sausage, egg,
Whatever
bacon,
you want.
whatever you want.
I quite like them in the States, like quite a lot.
They have them in America and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, Brendan doesn't love them. I really do. It's not like better than a McMuffin. It's just different. That's quite nice. I like them. Get a McGriddle before a long train trip from New York to Boston.
That is gross.
It's got a, no, it's like when you think about it.
Pancake, maple, bacon and egg go really well.
Yeah.
It's like a farmer's, what do you call it? A farmer's traditional from Pancake Parlor.
Yeah, farmer's breakfast. Yeah.
Farmer's breakfast, that's the one.
I am no son of Fergus. I am an original Fergus. You can't be an original Fergus. You got to be the original Fergus. You can't be an original Fergus. One eye on Lions today and one on State of Origin. And then, is there a game on today?
Yeah, at 7, isn't it?
Not the State of Origin, the Lions.
Yeah.
Oh, is that rugby union?
Yeah, because Polly Porridge tweeted that they conflict.
Conflict. But they're both running and throwing it backwards, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
But don't you dare
Just saying.
call...
Union and league are very different.
Don't call league rugby.
Don't you dare.
No.
Yeah, someone today did that to me and I was like, oh, God.
Footy with all the guys, the amuse-bouche. I don't know what that means, Paul. More like McGritty, haha. Greg, it was Paddy's idea and I thought he was a nice guy.
Yeah, what the hell, Paddy? Throwing your crow scarf in the dirt?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what we're going with.
yeah.
Is Pancake Parlor a cult? I heard it was. It's owned by Scientologists.
Is it really? I didn't know there was many in Australia.
They're named different things in different areas.
Really? What are they
In
called over here?
Melbourne Pancake Parlor, Pancake on the Rocks in Sydney.
Yeah, but that's
Pancake
fancy
Kitchen.
as. We should go.
Yeah, I love it.
So Pancake Parlor.
No, Pancake on the Rock. Pancake Parlor, we should go at Whitten Oval for an AFLW game.
Oh, High Point.
No, at Whitten Oval, where they have the AFLW home games, they have Pancake Parlor.
What?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
At the like a van?
Well, it's like inbuilt because
Yeah.
it's like their main sponsor. It's like a whole Pancake Parlor
where
thing.
you
They do
get
Pancake Parlor
a
cups.
beer. You go, Marnie, go for a beer, and while you're there, grab us a short stack, would you?
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah.
It's just like this part of the game. I remember from the Pride round last year.
This
Yes,
is on air
where we
content.
took Lucy because she didn't have her ID.
That's right.
And she's a child,
Crikey,
unlike
Moses.
us oldies.
I
we-
just want to say really quickly, I thought you were saying that there's a different word for Scientologists down here. And I was like, oh, I'm about to find out which group of people are Scientologists.
Yeah, no,
down
it's
here.
in.
And
Don't
then
you know
you were
in LA?
like
It's,
different names, like Kitchen Parlor. Kitchen.
in LA, they're called Pancake on the Rocks.
Yeah, and I was like, wow.
Alrighty.
Dad has just said an apology with 5 exclamation marks. You're in the bad books, PG.
This is
Alrighty. Let's do this. We're going into round 18. Yes?
Yeah.
Round 18. Stuff happening everywhere. Lots of stuff going on. And if you're interested in stuff, this is the home for you. It's Thursday. It's the Footy with Marns, which means we've got a...
Bounce that pill.
Yo. I think it's great the way you say bounce that pill.
I do not. Every time I say it, I'm like, don't say it like that. And then every week I do it the same.
Let's
Bad.
go. Let's go around in a circle and all say our own versions of it. Okay. I'll start with me. Bounce that pill. All right, Tom.
Bounce that pill.
Marnie.
Bounce that pill.
Patty. No, we don't like that. That's disgusting. That's number 4,
that
Patty.
gives me.
That's gross.
I don't like that.
Never again. I have my ranking. Let us know your rankings in the comments. I'm happy to be 4. Make me 4. Wow, what a good to see you, Marnie.
Likewise.
You're dressed in blue.
I am.
Why are you dressed in blue?
State of Origin night. And a lovely listener DM'd me just before we went on air. His name is James. And he said, could you please not announce the Blues win on the podcast night before the game has been played? Because I did that last month when I was very confident that the Blues were going to win. And to be fair, they should have. But I won't do it tonight, even though I'm very confident.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's like they are heavy favourites. And it's like on paper, they should win this.
Should.
They really should. It would be a huge upset for Queensland to win.
And as you're listening to this, it's happened, so it's great context.
Yeah. Can I do what I want to happen? I want Cam Munster to get the first try because of the emotional storyline there. So his dad passed away over the weekend and he had to leave the Queensland camp. He's the captain, by the way.
Wow.
He had to leave the Queensland camp and then he returned on Tuesday, games played on Wednesday. So it's like that's really courageous. And there's a lot, like Billy Slater cried when he talked about Cam Munster like coming back into the Queensland camp to like lead them.
It'd be horrible.
Yeah, absolutely horrible. So I would really like him to get the first try. But I would like the Blues to still win and I would like Latrell Mitchell to be man of the match.
Latrell Mitchell, I know from the Roosters.
Oh, are you just winding me up?
Not from the Roosters. Yes, from the Roosters?
From the Rabbitohs. Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, no. I thought the Roosters
too.
in my head were green and red.
Cardinal and Myrtle.
Because chickens feed in the grass and they have coxcombs. No, that's roosters. Yeah, roosters. Yeah, roosters have coxcombs.
I don't care for that.
Do you know roosters have coxcombs?
No.
That's the little under their chin or on their head.
Little
I can't
chin
remember.
scrap.
But that's all to say that we're excited for the state of origin.
Yeah.
And the rule as an AFL fan is we must say, but should the AFL have one? And we should only make that the discussion for 3 weeks every year.
Yeah.
And then act like we didn't do this last year.
Yeah.
And a few players will say, I reckon we should. And then some people say, nah, but the injuries. And then we move on closer and closer to our demise. But I hope they go well for you. Anything from you? Oh, you won a bet on the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you had a bet that what was the bet?
The bet, I guess, I forgot about it completely. But the bet was that if Essendon won, Marnie would get me a sweetie. And if Essendon won, no, I've stuffed this up, haven't I?
It's
explain it,
that
Marnie.
whoever wins, the other person would just get them something that they liked. And
Yes.
yes, I did say sweet treat, but I went to Subway.
Oh, watch
Because
that.
I was like, what's Tom's favourite thing in the world?
Yeah.
And then this is a Philly steak.
Oh, wow, I love Philly steak.
Right? And then Broden just told me you like some salad and not others. So I just guessed
Okay.
what
And do I need to
take
review
out.
it? Is there
Can
a
you
receipt
can you
here?
be clear on what your salads would be in a Philly cheesesteak first?
In a Philly cheesesteak? Well, I'd go minimal because I think the triple cheese, because it has the 3 cheeses, right?
Honestly, watching them make it made me feel so sick.
Yeah.
Just steak and cheese.
Yeah, so I would go, because it's already got the triple cheese and steak, I would get lettuce, but I wouldn't want a lot of lettuce. Okay. I would get tomatoes.
Great. On there.
I would get red onion.
On there.
And then I would probably get pickles and jalapenos.
Oh, damn it.
Wait,
you
what?
got pickles, you don't have jalapenos. I
That's
didn't know whether
okay.
you were spicy or not. And I was like, if you can't take spice, I don't want to get you that because that could actually ruin it. And then I said no capsicum,
Yep.
but it does have carrot.
Okay, I don't mind carrot.
Okay, great.
Carrot's a little added bonus.
So I did pretty well.
Yeah, you did really well.
No, I haven't
How
seen-
about what sauce did you get?
What sauce would you get?
I would have got half with mayonnaise, half with Southwest.
I want to say
It's
for,
half mayonnaise, half chili.
Okay.
I want to say for the listeners at home, I saw a man with 2 kids under the age of 3. When that bag of Subway came out, I saw a man's eyes come back to life and for the light of life to be in your eyes. Are you going to eat that
Yeah, but
at some
not
juncture?
now.
Yeah.
There's also something else
Should
in
I
the
eat it
bag.
now? What is it? Should I go through it? Cookies.
Yeah, there's 3 in there.
Now,
so
what
if
flavours do I like, Marns?
All of this chat has made me
it
forget
is
for a
the
brief
best,
moment.
it's the best flavour. Like the best, I think.
So I would have gone. This is just guess what Tom's Subway order would have been. I would have gone 1 choc chip and 2 raspberry white chocolate. 3 double choc chip.
No,
It's very good.
yeah. Well, I just said 3 choc chip because I was assuming that you would share them with Patty and Broden.
Yeah, do you want a cookie?
Can I respectfully ask
Yeah.
which Subway you went to?
The one on my walk here, so the one at Barclay Square.
Berkeley
nice.
Square. I don't know how they rate, but no, not for now. Thank you.
The woman working there was lovely.
Yeah?
She was so kind.
Oh, that's nice. Well, yeah, shout out on the afternoon or the evening shift for the
Berkeley
Subway.
Square Subway.
That's when the real crazies come out, getting Subway for dinner.
Yeah, I love Subway for dinner. I'll put it in the toaster when I get home tonight, perhaps. Watch out. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it.
On this strange how is it, Pad?
It's good cookie, Pad.
It's getting good ratings. And this, I know Paddy had delicious bakery this morning, which we can talk about later, but it's time for the news with Marnie. It's time for the news with Chief Football Correspondent Marnie Vinyl. Marnie, let's do this.
I really enjoyed that it's always dead silent when our stings are playing, except for just Patty over there munching through
There's
his
so much
cookie.
charisma in this room. We're so keen to talk when the stings are happening. We just sit here in silence. But
I'm nervous about accidentally talking when I'm not supposed to be, so I just stay silent.
Peter Mitchell and Jane Bunn, I wonder if they have charisma, or your Lavinia Nixons and your Peter Hitchners. Anyway.
I feel like we should start because it's just come out. Adelaide have been slapped with a financial sanction after our mate Ben Keys and his teammate Josh Rochelle have been penalised for wearing metal studs.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, so
Wow.
Adelaide, the club, have been fined $7,500, while Keys $5,000, Rochelle $2,500.
Do you know what Ben Keys did after we stopped rolling?
What?
He looked at me and he said, "Is that camera off?" I went, "Yeah." And he said, "I know where you live, mate." And then he took a swing and then walked. Tom saw all this.
This is true.
He's a bad man.
I don't believe that for a second.
No, that's not true at all.
It's just crazy they did that after it was literally put on the agenda during the week as a don't do this.
Yes, but I had a squiz to see what like the main public reaction is, and the main public reaction is like, yeah, good on him kind of vibes. Like, who cares? Like,
Could have sliced open 3 different Melbourne
Yeah.
Demons hands when he was going for goal of the year that turned out to be a bummer.
Exactly. This is going to sound inside baseball, but I was on the pitch. This game, it was pretty solid.
Yeah, very solid. Lovely ground.
We didn't have any studs into the ground. Well, I was happy with it. Were you
Yeah,
happy
I was happy.
with your little flag?
Yeah.
Okay, but what kind of fines did they get? Like, how much money was it?
I already went through that.
I forget.
You need to work on your listening skills, Broden Kelly.
I was prepping my Ben Keys bit.
So Adelaide, 7,500 has been fined, and then Ben Keys, 5,000, and Rochelle 2,500.
Correct.
That's a lot of villies.
Wow.
How much villies do you reckon?
Well, it depends.
That's almost a lifetime supply, really.
No,
Yeah.
come on.
If you thought about it in like steak and mushrooms,
Which I do.
that's probably
I think about
2,000
it in
steak and mushrooms, probably.
Great. Well, not great. Sorry, Adelaide, but yeah.
We should go through some of the injury. I feel like we've got quite a bit of meaty news. So
Well,
we'll
the
start
Philly cheesesteak news. Meaty.
with the injury stuff. So Nick Cox will miss the remainder of the season after advice from the AFL's independent concussion panel. He's only 23. He was concussed in a tackle at training before Christmas last year and has had ongoing symptoms over the pre-season. And then he resumed training and played 2 games in the VFL. But after the second of those, he was sidelined again with the re-emergence of symptoms and was placed in concussion protocols. This obviously sucks for Cox. He has been cleared to pursue a return to the top level. But I'm really glad that concussion is being taken so seriously, that we have, like, the fact that we have an independent concussion panel, that's great, I think.
Max Lynch talked about it. It's quite a full-on situation. Like, and it's like there's like 8 doctors, I think he said, and he remembers like he bursting into tears because these people are like, it's such a serious thing, and it's like your job gets taken out of your hands and whether you're going to do it anymore. It sounds really full on.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so uncomfortable when I watch players, when I see doctors try to get players off during games, being like, we've seen the vision, you have to do a HIA, and players just adamantly trying to escape. It's very uncomfortable.
It happened the other week with Cherry, didn't it, last week? Where
Yeah,
he waved
it
them
did.
off.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah,
got
and
a
there
helmet on.
was a West Coast player who really didn't want to come off in the West Coast Collingwood game. Anyways.
If I was West Coast, I'd want to come off. I want to go home.
Okay. But yes, so now Cox will continue to work closely with specialists, and yeah, that sucks, but also the fact that the care is so stringent, I think is like fantastic. Sam Lawler has been ruled out for the remainder of the season after following his hamstring injury that he sustained on the weekend against Geelong.
Yes. Good, though, I think. No more playing. Go and fix your soft tissues.
Yeah, well, Richmond high performance manager Ben Serpel, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, said that the hamstring injury was very different to the other hamstring injury he's had. So they're going to look at surgical options to strengthen the structure of Lawler's hamstring.
Jesus.
That is a bit modern medicine-y to
Cyborg.
me. It feels a little bit...
That's the right thing to do when you've had 3 in your first year, in my opinion.
yeah.
Take it seriously. Like, the Tigers are going nowhere. May as well, even if it takes another year to make sure you never have one again, go for it. IMO.
Yeah. Yeah. It
gonna
feels like
come
a
back.
very privileged thing to be able to...
Yeah.
Great. Like, obviously, like, if the medical care is there, but I just know that a lot of people don't have access to medical care, and anyway.
Yeah. He's going to come back a robot.
Well, hopefully he'll just come back with better structured hamstrings.
Robot hamstrings. To be able to... If I see him, Paddy, in the first game, fly through the air like a bird, I'll be very suspicious of this hamstring work.
Talking about hamstrings, poor Paddy did his hammy while kicking a ball with us this morning.
Do you?
I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. It actually
it
is
sounds
horrific,
funny.
and I'm sorry that you're in so much pain, Paddy.
Well, I brought a footy to kick with Kate Hoare this morning at 8 a.m. And then I was the only one there with football. I was also in shorts and it was 4 degrees.
And for context, this was a sponsorship announcement, so they were taking a lot of photos and doing a lot of videos and stuff.
Everyone's in suits, like very serious.
Except for 10 AFLW players.
Yeah, so before they showed up though, all these people walk up and go, it's with the shorts, man. Like it was the most, and I asked Paddy 5 minutes earlier, I said, should I put pants on? He went, nah, you'll be right. And then literally like 9 people asked me, what's with the shorts?
Also because it was freezing. It was
Yeah.
a really cold morning.
Wasn't that bad.
But then I had a little football, and then the football was like, can we borrow your football for these photos? So they just had this little boot football in all the photos.
It was a size 3 squishy kids ball.
Yeah.
So all of these like professional photos they're taking with this new sponsorship is with like a kid's ball.
Disaster.
Was a disaster. And people don't need to watch the video that we've got one video of Kate Hoare. People don't need to watch the second one.
Elite
I think
kicking.
that's fine.
Elite kicking from all of us.
Everyone can kick a ball extremely well. Joshua Shelley has avoided an ACL. Thank God. He's not sure what it is yet, but no structural or ligament damage.
I saw a photo of him in surgery though, didn't I? Or-
Yeah, because he did and he did the goal celebration thing from his hospital bed, but that wasn't surgery to fix the
Separate
ACL.
surgery.
I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure. I'm assumed to get. Oh yeah, I don't know. Yes.
Because I was when he went down, I think we both went, that's ACL.
Well, yeah, it certainly looked like it, didn't it? Because it wasn't. Weren't we discussing? Correct me if this might have been another thing, that it looked like agony for like 3 minutes and then fine, then walked off.
Because someone
Yeah.
told
Like,
us that.
okay, yeah, watch out.
Someone who did ACL said to me that it's the worst pain ever, and then your nerves die,
Jesus.
and then it doesn't hurt anymore.
Oh, and also on your episode on Monday, Tom, you were like, oh, if you do an ACL, you're much more likely to not do it again. That's not the case. If you do an ACL, you're very likely to redo that ACL.
Right, I
Like
thought
your
they were-
likelihood goes.
I just had thought that it comes back stronger. That's what they say. But
Yeah.
there you go.
No, because it's such a bummer. Like to now know that like Sam Kerr is a higher likelihood now to redo an ACL is. It's hard, but she's back on the park. She's training with him. It looks very good.
They needed her in points against Panama.
Well, I mean, did they? Because I don't want to talk too much about the Tillies. I feel like I don't want to. I'm already going to be talking about Origin. I feel like people don't need to hear all my thoughts about the Matildas, of which I have many.
Fair enough.
So Carlton coach Michael. Did I say that correctly? Carlton coach Michael Voss has delivered quite a pointed message to supporters who want to turn their frustration at his team's performances into personal attacks on Blues staff, saying that they do not belong in the club. And this is all after he was the subject of a threatening text message left on the MCG's antisocial hotline service during the Blues' loss to Collingwood.
So what? Yeah, they rang a thing?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, a lot of reputable publications are not going into detail about what the message said, but you can guess it was like threatening the life. But yeah, so the message was received by the MCG security team who work with the police during matches, according to the AFL and the MCG. And Voss has been pretty strong that he hopes that the AFL integrity unit deal with this pretty like forthrightly.
Awful.
Yeah.
And he talked about it, didn't he? He was pretty, he talked about it yesterday.
Pretty emotional.
Yeah.
And that actually, I mean, I don't know whether this was before the press conference or not. And because I was in that press conference and it was like, he looked almost like close to tears angry. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
There was like the energy around him was just like, oh, he is within his feelings right now.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, right? With comedy, what I've learned over doing it for like 15 years is you say things and with either nuance or you know that what you're saying is either parody or you're pastiching something but there is always so you feel like you're doing something for the right reason, but sometimes there's people who don't get the parody, and you see it with like these big guys like Bill Burr and stuff. They'll say something obviously ironically, but people don't get that. And you can't. Yeah. So what this shit is people taking things a little bit too far, and then someone else too far until someone's doing something and doesn't understand the nuance of it till they're being literally threatening to someone who's telling younger men how to kick a football, which is so over the top and insane.
And it feels like no one is more invested in that team and club success than the coach.
Yes.
Like the sacrifices, like I think about this all the time when even just like Joe Montemuro was asked like, what are you going to do after coaching the Matildas like the last 4 games? He's like, take a break. I'm going to see my wife who I haven't seen. And the same with like Ange Postecoglou when people keep asking him stuff and he was like, I'm going to see my family. Like I know that those are kind of extreme examples, but I do feel like AFL coaches, they work every single day. Like even when John Longmire retired, he was just like, this is like, it's so strange to wake up and not be working and thinking about that team's success for every minute of every day. Like I promise you, Voss cares deeply.
Yeah. The Blues are a great example of as well because their fan base are so emotional and it's often going bad. But like the 2 Guys 1 Cup talked to the Blues Abroad guy who takes phone calls from Blues people after games and use it as like a collective therapy. And there's some very funny calls, but they also talk about people calling up and saying, this team is my happy moment of the week. I hate my job. I hate my life. I go and watch this team. They make it worse. Like this is my one bit of hope for the week. And that's I find that so sad and really common. So that's where sport sits in my mind as a place for people who don't like where they work or how life's going or whatever's happening in their life. It's a nice moment for that. But yeah, you can't have it where it's crushing you. Saying that as a person where it definitely crushes me, but never to the point of you've got to be able to balance it out as well, don't you?
Yeah. Can
I take a point to say that reminds me, particularly Cheek did talking about the sincerity with which we approach sport.
Yeah.
Cheek Media did a post today, which I'll just read out because I think it's prevalent today. They've said it about the state of origin. So they said, tonight's state of origin, 2018 data tells us that domestic violence will spike by up to 40%. Your mate may be a perpetrator of violence against women or children. Your behavior, language, and the standard you accept matters always, but especially on days like today. 2024 data from DV Connect shows an increase in calls to their women's line on game nights. This service assists those at risk of experiencing violence. So the service reported the biggest jump the day after the game with a 37% increase in following games won last year. In 2024, calls to DV Connect men's line spiked on each game night, the highest being the first game with a 71% increase in calls compared to the monthly average. Men's line works with men to address their use of violence. Game nights see an increase in violence and also men seeking help. Conversations around domestic and family violence often places the burden on women to keep themselves safe. But if you want to see a lasting change, we need to address the causes of the problem and invest in prevention. DV Connect Men's Line provides people using violence with support and tools to make a change. Felt right to say that at that point. But if you go to DV Connect Queensland, they have more information there, I believe. But then also Women's Line and Men's Line get in touch with them as well. But I think, yes, just off the back of how seriously we take things and how and what it might be denoting. Anyway.
No, totally. And thank you for reading that. I really appreciate it. I always don't know when and how to really talk about that because it is on my mind all the time. And I get asked quite a lot that I do not like how can I call myself a feminist and like support the state of origin? And I feel very strongly that it is not up to women to remove themselves from sport, because that is just going to make it worse. Why would you remove the non-toxic elements of something? Anyway.
Well said.
But yes, no, thank you for that. It was also like, this is probably not a good comparison, but like just in the realm of like keeping things in perspective when it comes to sport. Like even so, I left Essendon Gold Coast at quarter time because I had to go to work to the Matildas game. And as soon as I got to the newsroom, I was like, started to like walk over to watch Essendon Gold Coast from like the big TVs in like the newsroom. And I walked past someone, and the first thing that I heard when I got to the newsroom was like the death toll of this particular story had gone from like X to Y, and it was like, oh yeah, like really what we do is it's not that.
I really like doing the podcast on Sunday nights because Melbourne traditionally play on Sunday afternoons, and I'm so mad. And by the time I get here, what I love doing about this podcast is it is therapy for me to be able to go, oh, they suck. Anyway, life's okay. All good. But I'm so glad I have that now.
Yeah. Talk to your friends. It's actually just,
buy them
Talk
Subway.
about your emotions. It's good.
What else?
Well, big news for AFLW fans. Well, kind of big news for AFLW fans. Over the weekend, there was a big report by Caroline Wilson in The Age that looked at, so the headline of it was skill errors, poor crowds, and a $200 million loss, why the league is worried about AFLW. And it went into that all 18 clubs got together. The AFL did a presentation to them, and they said that the women's game is losing $50 million a year, and that the number one priority for AFLW in its pivotal 10th season this year is to increase the on-field performance and get it to improve. It was a lengthy presentation. AFL boss Andrew Dillon and his team acknowledged the significant challenges presented by the rapid and costly expansion of the 9-season-old competition, which has endured diminishing TV audiences and crowd numbers. Mm-hmm. A detailed review of AFLW concluded that the players wish for an expanded season by 2031-32, in which every team plays each other at least once, would come at a cost of $200 million a year. That revelation to club chiefs who gathered for the talks on the Gold Coast came with the AFL presenting a deep dive into the AFLW game style, in which comparative numerical skill errors between the men's and women's competitions was shown. That last point annoys me.
Yeah, so they're saying because it was low scoring, it loses money. Is that what they're saying?
Well, yeah, like comparing the men's and the women's, like the numerical skill errors is being like you can't compare. It's a different game. You literally just can't compare them. But I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with a lot of the reaction to this. It was mostly driven by, and I know I'm in an echo chamber, but it was mostly driven by the AFLW community and people that are really involved in AFLW not being surprised by this and saying, well, yeah, like the decisions that have been made around AFLW haven't exactly allowed it to have larger crowds or even improved. I don't even want to say improved skills, because like the skills have been amazing, and I'm kind of also like, I know that the AFLW is growing and is getting better every year, and we talk about it. The girls that come into the pathways are now fully developed, and we talk about it all the time, but also like the product is good now. Like we can stop saying like, oh, it's getting there, it's going to get there, just wait 10 years, 5 years. Like if you watched Geelong Hawthorn last year, it was such a good game. That was a GMHBA stadium. I can't remember the exact scoreline, but it was something like 68-71. Like it was, and the women play shorter quarters, right? So that's high scoring. It's in a protected stadium. It's between two good sides. That is an example of a good game. But it's the games like Essendon Bulldogs, the Pride game that we went to, that was at the end of the condensed fixture. I know I talk about it a lot, but Essendon had 4 games within 15 days. Like these are young sides that you just burnt out these players. That game was really bad. Bulldogs didn't score. Essendon, I think, had like 3 goals. Like it was not a good game at all. And that's the game that mainstream channels picked up that don't talk about any of the other games. So then there's this public perception that AFLW is a lot worse than it actually is. And there's all of these factors that are contributing to poorer crowds. Like, I don't know, maybe the fact that the last 3 grand finals were all sold out at reduced capacity stadium. So you've got your big games that people are dying to go to. Like, imagine if you were like, well, we can't put Collingwood Carlton in the men's at the MCG because unfortunately Gold Coast GWS are only getting 20,000. And so until that game gets 50,000, Collingwood can't play at the MCG. Like, why are you limiting the big games and then saying, well, sorry, you're not getting enough crowds? You are getting crowds.
There's an argument. There's a good response to everything that's said about, like, well, don't play games at Frankston in 3 a.m. on Wednesday. Yeah. And obviously that shit. My mind goes to, there's two business models for expanding into women's sport in this country. There's NRLW and there's AFLW, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but AFLW went with get all the teams in as quick as possible, get as many games played as possible. Where NRLW said we're going to slowly expand and we're going to have less teams. We're going to have a higher, the less players, higher quality sport, focus on the state of origin.
Yep.
And they're doing quite well. It's doing really well for NRLW. Is doing better than AFLW objectively.
I would not say objectively, but there is an argument to be made.
So there's two models to that, right? So clearly AFL's gone. We're just going to try and buy land, essentially. We're going to try and build as much new infrastructure as humanly possible. 18 new teams within a very small amount of time, right? We're going to bring in 4 a year. So that model reminds me of Netflix in the 2010s, where their model was, we're going to accrue as much debt as possible, but buy land, essentially. We're going to make 1 million shows. Some of them are going to be awful. Some of them are going to be sketch shows from Melbourne. And we're going to buy as much land and we're going to accrue as much debt as possible, with the long-term goal in 20 years' time is we're going to be so big that we're going to go through the hard years now and acquire as many shows as possible so that we're going to be big, but with debt. That's their model. So unless they've clearly gone, we're going to get it. We're going to take a huge bunch of risks, build out as quick as possible. But we don't want any of the financial risks of that. So if what they're saying going out to the public is different to what they're saying is what I imagine, because they surely know that, like, to make that decision a decade ago, it was obviously going to have implications. We're going to go to as many teams as humanly possible. We're going to have 9 games a week at different times in the off season. Surely, unless you're completely inept, that is not a good business model for entertainment alone. The stupidest way to go about it. But unless you're deliberately acquiring debt.
So 2 things with that. One is that I can't think of a single sporting league or competition that is profitable within its 9th year. So it's the 10th season, 9th year this year. Like the AFL, VFL, when it started, had so many financial problems when it first started, and then so many clubs in the 80s and 90s were almost going bankrupt, and the league had to step in. In 2015, only 6 clubs were profitable. The league had to step in with all of the others.
Yeah.
Like, it's so normal to have league intervention, to have government intervention. It is not surprising that the AFLW would be making its loss. I just think that if we're presenting that to the public that already want to tear down AFLW so badly and almost take joy in doing so, then you have to present that with context and nuance and the reasons
and you
why.
Did it.
And then the second part to what you're saying is, I think that there's also just like the AFLW fans and community are smart and reasonable people, and they understand that teething problems are going to come, and that the AFL, to make it work, would try new things all the time and make things work. But there's just been such lack of communication and transparency. Even last year with the condensed fixture, all of the comms just being like, it's going to be great, it's going to be a festival of footy, and all of the AFLW fans and community going, this seems like a really bad idea. And then them just all of the comms just sticking with, it's going to be a festival of footy. How good that there's footy on every day. And the fans are going, we're so fatigued. You're trying to target men's footy fans. We're in men's finals. We're so fatigued. And you're putting games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and expecting us to tune in at 5 p.m. and then also again at 7 p.m. and then also again at 9 p.m. Like, and also you're making it so that the clubs that the teams that we love watching are playing so many games within such a short time frame that of course the quality is going to be poorer. It's just, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Patty, but we were talking about it earlier, and you said that there's so much dialogue that's come out of AFL House that's always been like, no, the AFLW is great. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. Like, it's in good health. And if there was just more transparency, if you just had the spokespeople of AFL saying this is what we're struggling with, this is what we're trying to work out, then it would just help so much.
Is there full transparency on where all their money goes as well, though? Like, because they go, we're down 50 million on AFLW. I was like, oh, well, how much, where do you, let's see all of the spending then.
So in the report, it was that it takes 100 million to run AFLW a year. The AFL, they get 50 million back, and so there's a $50 million loss.
Right, but I want to see like just business class flights. I want to see like show it all.
Right, is that 50 million broken down into like the TV deal is specifically for the W? Like, yeah.
Great question.
That's all. Yeah, because if you want to start talking about where you're losing money to help an argument or to help him say, I don't want to see in like a month's time, well, see, now we're going to do this as a reaction to that. I want to see like that should be open to proper journalists like yourself, where they're spending all their money and where money is coming from and where it's going.
Yeah.
Also, the only thing I would add is like this tactic, right, of like gathering land, as you put it, it's not necessarily a bad tactic either. Like companies done it for years, right? Like Coles is like, want to be first to have a Coles in Manda. Like, let's build. But you just got to back it in and put a strategy behind it.
That's
like,
my argument. If I was looking at NRLW and AFLW, I would 100% do the AFL model, which is get all the fan bases engaged. A percentage of the men's teams will go and follow that sport. There'll be new people who are just following AFLW, but that's the way to do it. Make them have young people growing up now supporting them.
Yeah, invest in it that way.
Be aware that it's going to be a 20, 30-year investment in the same way Queensland
And I'm
is.
sure they are, right? So it's like, what's to be gained by these optics coming out? It's all good. And then having these reports out. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just feel like the onus is constantly put on players that they're not making the product watchable when the product is, in my opinion, I know a lot of people have different opinions, watchable as it is. I think it's fantastic. Like I know I said I'm sorry. If you're going to talk about that Essendon Bulldogs game, then also talk about the Matilda Schultz mark. Like also talk about Chloe Malloy. Like also talk about Jazzy Gardner and every time she touches the ball. Like you cannot only talk about the bad stuff.
I feel like the rhetoric that I see or the discussion I see is often from ad agencies using like talking. It's not from the AFLW. Like it's about Taylor Harris's kick from Colgate or from Google or someone. It's never the AFL controlling the narrative. It's like ad agencies who are more invested in the W than the league itself. Anyway.
The AFL is considering a new mid-season competition in radical fixture shake-up, because I feel like that goes perfectly off the AFLW story. The AFL is seriously considering introducing a secondary tournament that would run during the premiership season, award millions of dollars in prize money, and could even offer the winning team a spot in the finals. The idea, first suggested 18 months ago, was raised again by AFL heavyweights, including Andrew Dillon, when the club CEOs gathered on the Gold Coast last week, which is also where this AFLW report was from, and would potentially be introduced once Tasmania joins the competition in the 19th team in 2028. So it would reduce the number of rounds played in the premiership season. Under the proposal, teams would only play each other once in the premiership season, like home and away, plus an additional rivalry round and gather round. The in-season tournament would then make up the difference to the current format, ensuring the terms of the AFL's broadcast deal are met. And 4 club bosses spoken to by The Age, who were asked to remain anonymous so that they could speak on the sensitive nature of the conversations, confirmed the idea was raised by the AFL last week and said they supported it in theory. So there's kind of 2 ways that this could be run. The subcommittee discussed the possibility of running the tournament concurrently with the regular home and away season, which would mean that the games are played once every 4 to 6 weeks, similar to the FA Cup in English soccer.
Or the NBA.
Hurts me so much to write English soccer or say English soccer.
English soccer.
English football. Even on the Matildas blog, I'm always like, I need to say soccer or I get yelled at. Alternatively, the home and away season could be paused for approximately a month in the middle of the year, giving clear space to run the standalone separate competition. Obviously, a big reason why AFL want this is the in-season tournament for the AFL could provide the game with another form of revenue, both in sponsorship and potentially new broadcast deal.
So the model is like EPL, but then also the play-in tournament in the NBA, where the NBA is so long that halfway through the year ratings dip because everyone's like, well, why would I watch this for 9 months when it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter till June and it's November. So they put in a tournament there to give people engaged and make it a reason. But the main difference, which would be that those games count to the end of the season as well. Having a tournament in the middle of the year that doesn't count to the end of the year makes no sense whatsoever. But my main thought is, what are they trying to take the eyes off?
Can I give you my tinfoil on that?
Yeah.
They come up with this thing after they did the worst round they've ever put together. Of the worst fixturing they've ever done last week, ever. And they had round 17 wasn't fixtured until like round 8 or whatever. And they did a fucking shit job and all the games were shit. So someone's like, leak that thing about the fixture to distract.
That's my 100%.
That's my tinfoil.
It's the
thing.
Trump model.
Tom,
Yeah, I was going to say right-wing extremist model of distract, because it was a shocker. So now people are talking about this. We're talking about this instead of how bad of a job they did last week.
Yeah, they do this every year. They drop a few, they pepper a few things.
Yeah, and the free-to-air thing as well. It's not talking about how, there was 2
Saturday
games
night.
on Friday night against each other and no free-to-air on Saturday. Like, it's just distraction, IMO. Tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, no.
Now off.
Great.
They're listening.
Everyone's always listening, yeah.
They're listening. We know what you're doing, guy. Is that all the news?
Yeah.
Wow, this is a heavy week.
Yeah, I know. I wish I
that's
had
what
some
it's
good
at.
jokes to finish off with.
No, we could do some jokes.
Essendon's playing Richmond, might get a win.
For who?
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
Yeah, but yeah.
They're
It would
both
be so
bad
funny if it
teams.
finished in a draw. I had a joke mid that I didn't want to say because I didn't want to lose momentum, and also I wasn't confident I could get the joke out right.
Let's hear the joke.
let's hear it.
So you know
Workshop
how
it.
you were very impassioned about the Netflix model and how like you support it with the AFLW. I was like,
Yeah.
is that because you want a second season on Netflix
Yeah,
of
I want-
Cafe? What's it called?
Coffee Cafe.
What is it,
Cafe? What is it, Cafe?
Well, I was if AFL.com.au is looking for sketch comedy shows, let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah.
In between Gettable and something else, we're ready to go. We're also ready for a little segment we like to call Round 18 Tipping.
Tipping.
That was great. That was really good.
Tipping. Tipping.
Tipping is something you do where you speculate on who will win, or if you have an air fry, if you have a humidifier or a dehydrator, it's where you take it after making mushrooms in it. The tip. Now, let's crack into the round 18 tipping, which starts tomorrow night or this night, depending on the way you look at time. 7:30, Marvel Stadium, Melbourne time. Carlton versus Brisbane. 8% of people are tipping Carlton. Quite rightly, their spirit seems gone. They seem like an ACL. The nerves have died. I'm going Brisbane.
Yeah, I'm going Brisbane by 50, I think.
Yep.
Money.
Same.
Money. That will be a loss for the Blues. Hopefully not the second in 2 days for the Blues.
Yeah, I agree. I know it's also very funny when I say "Go Blues" this week, and people go, "What?" You go, no, not Carlton.
Friday the 11th of July. Now, this is the game of the round.
Could be. Could be.
Firstly, welcome Gold Coast Suns to prime time. It has been played before, but during COVID.
I know, man. I just play it up a bit. The first ever Friday night game.
People First Stadium. This will be nice and sold out. Gold Coast Suns versus Collingwood. Collingwood overdue for a loss, right? Dacos has been sick. Darcy Moore's been sick. Josh Dacos has been sick.
Bobby Hill's still out.
Bobby Hill's still out. This is winnable, man. Is Sidebottom
absolutely.
back? We won't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I assume so, right? Because he was out with illness, and they're managing their players.
That's the thing. I feel like they've been managing all year and still managing to get it done. That's why I'm not like jumping at this prospect of them being down a few key cogs because it hasn't hurt them much.
So they've qualified for finals. Isn't that mad? They've already qualified.
Yeah.
14 games in the bank.
Wow.
And Melbourne haven't qualified yet, but they will.
Can they possibly? I don't think they can anymore, can't they? Because Sydney have to win every single game if they want to qualify.
I'm talking-
and they're on 28 points, and you're on 20 points.
Yeah, I'm talking 2026. I'm really sorry.
sorry.
I've moved
course.
on. I've moved on. I'm on to the W, the Polestar Demons. I think Suns will win, but I'm tipping Collingwood. But also the Vic bias, the Vic media, as the Crows fans around us screamed all day, VFL. They really are still on it. They really are. They were awful.
Yeah.
The Crows fan.
Oh, only the old blokes.
But there was a feeling of that when we entered the Bay as well, though, Broden. I said to you first thing, I was like, I think we're deep in lifetime Crows members. They were all 60
But like,
plus,
just on
and
the
like rusted on.
Like a clear holding the ball and they're like, VFL, here we go again. Like, that's not a way to live your life, that defeatist mentality.
Yeah.
That's why you're watered shit, because you don't pull yourself up by your haunches and you just say VFL's fault.
Yeah.
I did really appreciate when we were at Essendon Gold Coast and Gold Coast would score a goal and there'd be like one guy with a flag in the whole
And
stadium.
the drum?
And the drum was there. I didn't even wear any merch.
One of my favourite
I
things.
know, I bought merch to make sure your son was wearing Bomber stuff. Anyway, yeah.
The Suns at Marvel is one of the saddest things. The
It's
old
so
cheers squad there.
sad.
There's a nice guy with a drum. We were sitting behind them one time. He says a snare drum. We go bang, bang, bang. And one time when we were there, the security came and said, "You got to stop doing that drum, man." He's like, "I have a letter from the AFL."
And he was right and pulled it out. The
like,
security
oh,
guards
okay.
had to let him have the drum.
And what I also remember about that day is like you started to
I
get
love that.
pumped by the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And then the two guys, "Oh, it's unbelievable. Oh." And there was an awkward pause. And then one of them went, "You get Nando's after this?" And they went, "I just ate, man." That's my memory of that day. But
I feel bad I don't sit with them anymore.
you should go back.
Maybe I should go back.
Yeah, you definitely should.
I don't want to take Atlas into that environment.
He has to learn.
Yeah, take him into deep Essendon territory. That'd be good for him.
He might find a love for the snare drum. He would actually love that snare
He
drum.
would.
He's going to be a great ruck, by the way. I just really feel it.
He's almost as tall as Manny.
Yeah, he's massive. And because
not-
like
he's
I
pretty
would
good
keep
ruck.
like I would be a great ruck. I would keep handballing it to him, and he would just like tap it.
Yeah.
I was like, amazing.
He loves to smash
Gonna be
balls.
he loves to smash balls.
Everyone's going Collingwood, I imagine.
Yeah.
I will tip the Suns. I'll back him in. I do think it should be a little closer than 73 to 23 from the tipster's choice. I think it should be closer to 60-40 Collingwood's way, like just
Yep.
a mild advantage.
And
Yeah,
you?
I would love Gold Coast to win this just for story of the season.
Yep. So you would like. Are you going to tip him though?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Watch John Noble get up, watch him get very cranky and get up and have an absolute ripper.
True.
And the Suns play so much better at home. Give him a good chance.
Kiss of death from Tom here.
Although there will be 40,000 Collingwood fans there. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be a Collingwood
You
home
beat
game,
him there
basically.
last year, remember?
Yes, I do remember that. Very
Dog-
early in the year too.
120 Marvel Stadium, Doggies, Adelaide Crows.
This is the game of the round for me.
Yeah, how good.
Yeah. Yep. Crows kept their inside 50s for the first half were, and I think Crows fans will agree with this, deplorable. On
Yeah, they had a really bad game, really.
Who are the key defenders for the Doggies?
Wow.
Lob.
Yeah.
Lob.
And then then
yeah.
their number one from last year is a storyline, right? He's not getting played at the moment. Pat, you know who I'm talking about?
Liam Jones.
Oh.
Liam Jones is playing VFL every week, even though he
Because
was
he's
like
48?
Yeah, but I think he was like their number one defender last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doggies fans. And he's not getting a game at the moment.
You have a small bit of cotton coming off your left eyebrow.
Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't know. I wanted to do that all episode.
Last night I was on Cheap Seats and there was like a little tiny bit of fluff in my beard. And I'm watching it on my TV at home with Annie. I'm like, there's a bit of fluff in my beard. And then halfway through me talking, it just very slowly fell out and drifted down in frame. And Annie just goes, "It's gone." And I was like, oh no. Anyway, we're all going Dogs? No. Some people are going Crows.
I'm going Dogs for sure, but I think it'll be an absolute ripper. Adelaide will want to show up for this.
Hell yeah, we got some good games.
Yeah, this is exciting. Saturday, 1 p.m.
Crows are good, mate. They score quick.
They do score very
Rankin's
quickly.
so good.
Sometimes they score and it's not even a goal, but they score.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you referring to?
Ben Keys.
The metal studs.
It was fun to watch. It was also fun to watch just being like, it is so, because I don't know if you two, because you were at the ground, but like watching on TV, it was like, oh, it's very clear. And also in all of the replays, it's very clear. But on the ground, you might not have been able to see that it was very clearly.
I felt gaslit because I watched it and I was like, that's clearly fucking touch.
Yeah, and there was 3 hands. And it was only because I went on X for a bit and I started seeing goal of the year that I told Brad, no, it was a ripper goal. It was goal of the year.
Yeah,
Ask
they were
Ben
like,
Keys about
the
it.
screen person's gone, no, it wasn't touch. I'm like, well, that's incredible then, all right.
Yeah.
And I was like
Do you think?
the ball went like that. Anyway.
Do you think that's why Ben Keys didn't want to recreate it?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. That was, I wasn't awkward. I'll live with that moment forever, awkward as.
You know what? I'll go Crows.
Crows. Good job. Good job, Marns. And then at 4:15 NG Stadium, another great one. So Giants at home, where they don't win that often. They lost to Freo there.
Like being on the road.
Against Geelong, who they beat, I feel like 4 weeks ago.
They always win. They always beat Geelong at GMHBA.
Yes.
So I'm going to tip Geelong for this one.
Yeah, Geelong will really want to win this. It is Lockie Whitford's something game. It's a
250th,
milestone.
isn't it?
250.
Yeah, it makes him fourth most played
Ooh.
at the GWS, which I was thinking to myself is crazy, right? Because he missed his whole first season with the doping thing, and then he's been injured a lot. So it's crazy that Whitfield made 250.
The number one draft pick for GWS.
Yeah. Remember he got like an 8-week ban or whatever for taking
Did
a
he?
banned diuretic or something? Am I making this up? Could be making it up.
No, you're
No,
right.
you're
You're
getting
right.
thumbs
I'm
up.
right. I'm getting thumbs up. Yeah, there was a whole thing. They missed like the first 6 months. So crazy that he's already got to 250. Really great effort.
Good job, Lockie.
But I think GWS will have had this circled in the calendar for a while as well as a must win. If they're playing finals, this is a must win. So I think they'll show up and they'll win.
They had a very easy week last week and looked fantastic over in WA, but, I'm tipping Cats though. Marn, did you say who you tipping?
I'll go Cats.
Richmond Essendon, Saturday night.
What a ripper at the MCG at prime time.
All the players out injured.
Both teams. I reckon Bombers will win.
Really?
Yeah, I think Bombers will win. I don't know.
Oh, but if it's the Bombers that showed up in the third quarter against Gold Coast, give me those 4 points.
They're really good.
Archer May, right? 3 goals in a row. Stunning.
I think Essendon will win.
I don't know if you can hear listeners, but Broden's squeaking his chair like a
Paddy,
child.
sometimes you come in and Paddy has moved all the chairs out of the room because he hates the squeaky chairs.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I was sustaining eye contact with Paddy while squeaking my chair. I just found it.
Yeah, but also for the people on YouTube, it would just look you're like just like kind of thrusting and staring at Paddy.
Yeah, he doesn't know. I've been doing it for years. And then the other Saturday night game is Freo Hawthorn was actually a rip snorting belter.
Absolute ripper.
So you can watch the Richmond Essendon one for a good 25, 35 minutes. Watch a quarter and then jump over to this one, which you can't predict. Freo, do you trust Freo, Tom?
No, I don't, but I'm going to tip them. Like, I think they've done enough. They're playing really well, I think.
They lost to Sydney last week.
Yeah, Hawthorn are awesome. Who knows? Very hard to call. But I'll back in Freo this week.
Hawthorn.
I'm
pretty confident with Hawthorn.
Great.
Love that.
I'm going Fremantle. On the Reddit today, on the AFL Reddit, they talked about a favourite memory of mine. In 2011, Freo went back to their fan base and said, vote on our theme song. So they did 2 versions of the Freo Heave Ho, Way to Go.
Yep.
One with the old Russian Soviet Freo Heave Ho, and then one that kind of was a bit more lighthearted, where the mighty Freo Dockers, and then one by Eskimo Joe, and then another one.
Just called Purple Fingernails.
Red wine.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with something.
But I remember they're all. I remember the vote happening and everyone just going back to the original. I think was what happened. Fun times. It was 2011. I had no money. I was sitting around on Facebook all day. Sunday 1:10, the primetime game of the round. North Melbourne versus Melbourne.
Didn't North beat you last time?
Brutally.
Yeah.
Just pulverised us.
Showed up.
Cherry flogged Gorn. It was awful. Just an awful day. Horrible. I've tipped Melbourne for this.
I think you guys I was really impressed with you guys against Adelaide. And if it's that same intent that shows up, you'll win easily.
Doggies are coming. I mean, North are coming. They were fantastic last week against Bulldogs. And they play. I went on the North podcast this week, Further North podcast. They've won their last 3 at the G or something like that.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
They win and their game is better built for bigger grounds than Marvel. Is what they're thinking.
Interesting.
But I'm tipping D's. I think we're not as bad as these awful performances. I just think there's enough there.
Depends how many behind you kick, I guess.
Exactly right.
Like, legitimately.
You had a really good purple patch against Adelaide.
Purple patch, Tom.
Yeah, a very good patch.
We are good when we kick straight and we but there's a lack of adaptability. There's why did we lose that game, Tom? Why did we lose that game?
I mean, you kicked really poorly and you didn't really show up in the fourth, I thought.
Yeah.
But like we were at three-quarter time.
They got goals when they didn't.
Yeah, at three-quarter time, I said very genuine to Broden. I said, I think this trip's going to be all for nothing and we're not going to get into the Adelaide rooms because D's are going to win here. Do you reckon you can get on the phone?
Standing at the Melbourne rooms like, can you let us
Legit, I said to Broden, is there anyone you can call that can get us into the D's rooms if the D's win? So we didn't fly out all this way to get content and can't get into the rooms.
It would be so funny.
It would be, but I was genuinely like, no, the D's are better, but then, yeah, ultimately not.
Is anyone tipping Melbourne or you're all going north?
I'm going Melbourne for sure.
Oh, no, I'll go Melbourne, I think. No, I'll go Melbourne.
Good on you.
Also, just on that podcast record, because you were under a flight path, and because I was listening while going for a walk, every now and again I genuinely thought there was a plane above me. It was really
nice.
like wigging me out.
We got some great feedback because we talked about the Emirates planes and the international planes landing at Adelaide Airport. Do you know why that is?
No.
Because like Doha, Qatar, Emirates, Etihad, they all have legislated limits to how much they can land in Australia and how many times they can land in the same cities.
Yeah.
So they come to Adelaide literally empty because they legally have to and then go to Melbourne or Sydney.
Yeah, no, it's all a rot to protect Qantas, isn't it? I remember reading about it.
That's right, Qantas. Yeah. And you can't even protect my data.
Exactly right.
I got that email.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I'd signed up for frequent flyer.
Yeah.
I had
Luckily,
no
I've
points, but they still stole my data.
Awful.
And then at 3:15 that day, St Kilda versus Swans, which is also actually a bit of a tussle, I reckon, more so than you would think. Swans at Marvel.
Yeah, I like St Kilda at Marvel a lot better than anywhere else.
I think the Golden Swans will win.
Oh, I love Golden. Yeah, and also because Swans have to win every single game now to make finals. GWS did it not last year, but the year before in 2023.
Right.
It's possible. It can be done. And I just love I want to see how far they can go.
The
Not because I am a Sydney Swans. Anyway.
Aren't they the 9th contending team? Isn't that the thing? Last year at this point in time, there was 14 teams who could be in the in the finals. This year, there's 9 roughly now, and Swans are the 9th one.
Well, Freo is in 9th.
There's 10.
You could say Port Adelaide then, because Port Adelaide are equal on the ladder with Sydney. But I really think Freo is in 9th and 3 wins ahead of Sydney. So I really feel like it's borderline impossible for Sydney to make it, and it's really a 9-horse race from here.
Same, but it's just fun to see how far they can get.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, they'd have to win 3 and stuff would have to go right and people drop off. And the Suns are in there, so that could always happen.
Speaking of Port, they're playing West Coast this week. So everyone's going Port at Adelaide Oval.
I think West Coast are due one.
Mate.
Why not? They're due one. I'm not winning any TV competitions this year.
Well, Ken Hinkley, the way he was behaving last week, I thought there's a man who's locked in.
Exactly. So I just think West Coast have impressed me at times, not consistently, obviously. But I think they're due a win.
Pal Pepper's gone. That's a huge out.
Huge out. Luco back though.
Lucocious.
Yeah, he's kicked 3 last week.
Good.
I feel like
he's good.
He's a good player.
Should be a good week of footy. There's some good games there. They
so much better than last week.
Peter out on Sunday, but if you're coming to my shows in Brisbane on Saturday, I'll see you there. Is there a Brisbane game there? No. Anyway.
Damn.
I'm going to be on the plane with Brisbane for sure.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I'm flying. Oh, no, I won't. I'll be fine. All right. Marnie, great chats.
Likewise.
Enjoy the Blues.
Oh, I hope so.
Hope they go well for you. Tom, enjoy your Subway.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Marnie.
Paddy, how are you?
Good. Saying good. Squeaky chairs.
We'll see you all. Enjoy the footy. Bounce that pill. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Wonderful community. Being here for the wonderful chats.
Someone had a comment that I would like to address.
Yep.
They said something about Broden's basketball cap. How come I'm not allowed to wear caps? I literally was like, it's a hair washing day. I'd really like to be able to wear a cap today, but I can't because I was told no caps. Was this princess
No,
drinking
you
over
can
here?
wear whatever you want. I'm over that rule.
Really? I can wear caps?
Well, I mean, it's just we got told once that when your face is in shadow, it's not good for TV or live streaming. And Broden's eyes are in shadow.
See my face anyway.
And I'm putting it really low. It's kind of thing I'm doing
I was
today.
like, why are you doing that?
Well, I will say to everyone, I am not and would never wear a basketball cap.
It's a baseball one. Phillies.
That's right. So get it right. When you come for the king, don't miss.
I probably misread. Sorry, I think that's my fault. No,
Oh, so
It's probably,
don't yell at me.
we were
it
told,
does
but
cover your
also
face.
because I'm bald, right? In my opinion, this much white is awful. And so in this room with this much light bouncing, I'm like, it's better for everyone if I just try and put a pretend hair on.
Yeah.
Should I wear a wig?
I think
Yes.
technically, yes, the hats are bad for footage. But otherwise, don't care.
But it's also like we're not on primetime Channel 7, you know
Exactly.
what I mean?
No one wants to see your fucking face anyway.
Hey, we've
eh?
streamed for 69 minutes. End it right now. Just kidding.
What else are people saying? Cheers, Broden. This was nicely digested over breakfast.
We're a beanie.
Where are you, Paul? I'm trying to get recruited to the Phillies. A fun little fact is Paul F. Tompkins from BoJack Horseman or the Tenacious D movie or Comedy Bang Bang. Every time I wear this hat, he comments, "Go Phils."
Yeah, it's quite funny.
So that makes me feel cool. All right, let's get out of here and go watch some league, or as the union. I don't know. Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.